Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. First up in today's lineup, a tale from an internet repair lead who's paid to help, but happily obliges when a customer's own tantrum digs the perfect hole. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. This customer demanded we fix his internet speed, so I did. So, a little backstory. I work for an internet provider company as a lead in the internet repair department. This means that I get calls from agents who work there that either need help with a situation because they're stuck and don't know what to do, or when a customer escalates the call asking for a supervisor, manager, or someone above them. My department mainly handles internet issues like being offline, outages, replacing equipment, etc. So the other day was like any other. I'm getting calls from agents needing equipment transferred from one account to another, scheduling a technician for customers who refuse to do any troubleshooting. The list goes on and on. One of my main calls is an agent asking for me to run a special tool that corrects the speed being sent to a customer. This usually happens when a customer upgrades or downgrades their internet speed, and it doesn't take right away, and this only takes a couple of minutes. This comes in later. On this particular day, I get a call from an agent that says her customer wants to speak to a supervisor because he's not getting the speeds he pays for. This happens quite a lot, usually because most people don't understand how the internet works and all the factors that come into the result of a speed test. This can include a lot of things like how far away you are from your router, if you're testing on Wi-Fi or directly connected, how many devices you're currently using, and even things like how your residence is built, because stone and concrete do not allow Wi-Fi signals to travel through. When I look at the customer's account, I see that he's currently subscribed at 100 megabits per second. Our normal plans are 300, 500, and a gig, which is 1,000. I asked the agent what results he was getting, and she told me it was 437 megabits per second, which is way over what he's paying for. I told the agent to go ahead and transfer him to me, and I'll continue the discussion. Once the customer gets to me, we'll call him Darren, I introduce myself and ask how I can help. Darren immediately begins yelling and cursing at me about how he's not getting what he pays for and is extremely upset, and even demanding credit to his account because of this. I begin to try and apologize to Darren and explain that speed test results can vary based on certain conditions. He cuts me off and states that he's recording the call and will be posting everything I say on social media. I tell him that's fine, as all our calls are recorded for quality assurance purposes as well, and everything will be documented. Darren then proceeds to continue cursing, stating that this is unacceptable and I should be ashamed of myself for working for a company that does not provide the product people are paying for. While he rants on and on, I noticed that he had recently changed his internet plan from 500 megabits per second to 100 megabits per second 2 days ago. Now, as I mentioned before, sometimes the internet changes don't happen right away and we have to run a specific tool to fix it. This can happen when the modem has not been reset to reflect these changes. I try to tell Darren that he's receiving more than what he's paying for, and again he cuts me off, stating that he will be reporting us to the FCC, BBB, and filing a lawsuit about this, all while recording our conversation. Now, normally I wouldn't care, and I'd allow the speed to continue going through until the system automatically fixes it, but his attitude and rude demeanor made me feel otherwise. I respond to Darren saying, "Sir, you are absolutely right, and I'm so sorry you were not receiving the speeds you were paying for. I will get this fixed right away." Now, this plan that Darren was on, the 100 speed, is a plan that only certain customers can get if they're financially unable to make normal payments, meaning he had to apply for this program and be approved based on his low income. So I run the fix tool on his internet and reduce the speed down to 100 as he requested. I then ask him how his speed results are now. Darren then responds, "It's even worse than it was before. What kind of trick are you trying to pull on me?" I responded, "Sir, you told me you were not getting the speeds you were paying for, and you were right. You recently applied for financial assistance to be downgraded to 100, and I fixed that for you. It was absolutely wrong of us to be sending you 500 when you were only paying for 100. I apologize for the inconvenience." After a few minutes of silence, Darren then muffled to himself, "This is ridiculous," and proceeds to disconnect the call. I left notes on his account so any future agent would know what had happened that day and that he was not entitled to any credit on his bill. All I can say is be careful what you complain about. Sounds like the typical attitude of the world these days. They pay for lead but expect to receive gold. I'd really like to see the complete end to the customer is always right mentality. Screaming and abusive customers need to be banned. When more people discover there's consequences to their actions, we may be able to return to some type of civility. And our second story. Accidentally sold a retro arcade machine while killing time on Pac-Man. So my wife's birthday present was a gift card to a well-known sporting goods store to get herself new shoes. We went in today, and at the front of the store were a few of those arcade one-up machines that have become popular lately. I asked my wife if she'd be okay with me playing some Pac-Man instead of helping her find shoes. She agreed. While in the middle of my game, I'm approached by another guy. I'm in my late 20s. He's older than me, but I don't think he could have been older than 45. He casually walks up to me and says, "Having a good game?" Me, "Yeah, actually, I'm not doing too bad." Him, "I bet it plays terrible compared to the real thing." Me, "Actually, no, you'd be surprised. It's pretty darn close." Him, "Really?" Me, "Yeah, the code's the same and the picture's pretty clear, so the only thing to worry about is input lag, and that's really low." Him, "Wow, I didn't realize these were so good. Too bad they only play one game." Me, "Actually, this one has about 10 games installed." Him, "Really?" I lose intentionally so I can give him the grand tour of the machine. Yeah, see, when you boot it up, you can pick between all these games. And if you want more, these things are really easy to modify to add more. Him, very interested now. "You can modify these?" Me, "Yeah, in fact, these arcade one-up machines are popular choices for arcade enthusiasts who want to play MAME but don't want to build their own cabinet, because these are affordable and leave a small footprint in your house." Him, "So this price is fair?" Me, "I certainly think so. I mean, speaking for myself, I built my own cabinet. I pull out my phone and show him the pictures. But in all, it cost a bit more than this does. So if you don't want to build one and you're okay with the limitations this gives you, I think it's worth it." Him, after a pause, "You know what? I want one." That was pretty cool to hear, but it crossed my mind that he might have thought I was an employee trying to pass a sale on him. "That's great, sir, but I should warn you, I don't actually work here. See, my wife needs shoes and I'm just playing games to pass the time." He didn't seem to mind. "I'll go find someone to help me buy this then." He turns and leaves and calls behind his shoulder, "Have a good game." That was about 10 minutes ago. As I'm writing this, he and an employee are busy loading the box into his truck. That person will probably never think of you again, but you're directly responsible for the hours of joy he'll get from that arcade machine. And our next story. The perils of shopping. Accused of working there. Didn't happen to me, I just observed, and no great explosion at the end, but I have to admit I've wondered about exaggerations on the stories here, wondered how people could be unable to tell an employee from a shopper, or how they could double down on their insistence that the other person works there. Well, I was at my local grocery store. It's not a big place, but it has what you need for a quick run. It's important to know that despite this, there are tons of employees around, one of the few places you can actually find help on just about any aisle, and they all wear black polos or black chef jackets with the store logo on them. Standing at the freezer door, I hear a male voice say pretty loudly, "Where's the such and such?" At the same time, I hear a woman's voice that seems to be getting closer to me. I glance over and there's a man with a cart facing away from me and a woman on her phone having a very animated conversation and walking towards me. Also important to note, she's wearing a nice bright yellow blouse. He says a second time as she gets closer to him, "Where's XYZ?" Now I'm staring at them. This is interesting. She breezes straight past him and he yells, "Hello!" Yes, the long drawn-out Karen hello. After her. This woman was either very focused on her phone or has chess master levels of ignoring people, because she never broke stride or even glanced his way. As a parting shot, just after she passed me, he flapped his arms out in frustration and screamed after her, "Well, do you work here or not?" I just stood there laughing and thinking, wow, they do exist. So no arguments, no threats to get the manager, just a very unobservant guy who can't tell a shopper in a blouse from an employee in uniform on first, second, third, or even fourth try. And our last story. My tree threatened Karen's pool. No! For 2 years, I've been dealing with the nightmare that is my neighbor, Karen. It all started with a single tree on my side of the fence, a beautiful, mature tree that I love. Karen, however, sees it as public enemy number one. First, she complained that the branches leaned over her yard, then it was the leaves, then the berries, which she claimed were making her dog sick. Most recently, she started whining about how the tree would ruin her future swimming pool, a pool that, mind you, she hadn't even broken ground on. I've done my homework. I told her she was fully within her rights to trim any branches that crossed into her property, but I wasn't removing the tree or hiring an arborist to top it. I didn't need to. I wasn't legally required to. I also happen to like the damn tree. Despite that, twice now she's taken it upon herself to hack away at the branches. Not just what was hanging over her yard, but huge sections that were clearly on my side of the fence. And every time, she dumped the mutilated limbs back onto my lawn like she was delivering a message. It took multiple people hours to clean up her mess. When I tried to talk to her about it, she flew off the handle and started yelling nonsense. Yesterday, she crossed a serious line. I was outside with my dogs enjoying some rare peace when Karen dumped a whole bucket of leaves and berries over the fence. It hit one of my dogs directly. Thankfully, my dog's okay, but the act itself, completely unhinged. It didn't feel accidental. She was aiming. That was it for me. I wasn't going to wait for her to do worse. I compiled the photo evidence of her excessive pruning, the timestamps from my security cameras, and even a short video of her flinging debris into my yard. I took all of it straight to the police and filed a report for trespassing, property damage, and animal endangerment. At the same time, I consulted a local arborist who confirmed that the damage to the tree was significant. With that documentation, I had grounds to sue for damages. Turns out Karen didn't like getting served. She banged on my door for 10 minutes straight, screaming about how I was ruining her life. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The court date was set. A few weeks later, we both appeared in small claims court. I presented my evidence calmly. The judge was not impressed with Karen's behavior. Between the destruction of private property, the debris assaults, and the evidence of ongoing harassment, she was ordered to pay for the arborist's estimate to try and salvage the tree to the tune of $2,800. On top of that, the judge issued a no-contact order. She is legally barred from coming onto my property or communicating with me directly in any way. Karen went red in the face, stammered something about just trying to protect her pool investment, but the judge shut her down. Now, Karen keeps her distance. She hasn't said a word to me since, and the construction crew she hired for her pool hasn't been seen in weeks. Maybe she's thinking twice now. I am so sorry you're dealing with this. She's definitely in the wrong. I like how her dog's health and safety is so important, but she throws a whole bucket of stuff on your dog? What a jerk. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.